the latest injury update on linebacker Justin Flowe, a guy who a lot of people are hoping will be kind of one of the faces of this Oregon defense. He most recently played in the Fresno State game and just had an absolutely monster performance. I think it was 14 tackles and a forced fumble. He was all over the field, but he's been limited all throughout spring, and he wasn't wearing pads in the last practice that we had, and he was still in trainers from what we saw. But we were asking Dan Lanning about the latest update there, and if it looks like he might be able to play in the spring game, because all eyes, Dylan, are obviously on that game next Saturday, and this is what Lanning had to say. Trending back, probably too early to say one way or the other if we'll see him out there for the spring game, but he's trending back. We're getting him in a little bit of drill work each day. So still positive news on the injury front, but perhaps maybe even a little bit more encouraging than Manning, considering the recency of the two injuries.
Yeah, Flo's been out there since the start of spring, like you said, with limitations. It's been 9 months, I believe, since that injury before the Ohio State game. Foot injury, pretty serious one. So I like that he's out there and he's practicing, getting some drill work in. And again, you don't want to rush that again because he's got, multiple serious injuries that he's had in the last 2 years, has only been able to play in front of Oregon fans, whether on TV or in person, 3 times. You think about the Stanford game his freshman year, then the spring game and the Fresno State game last year. And that's all we've really seen of him. So again, it would be awesome to see him out there just because you're not going to find many more talented linebackers, not just on this team, not just in this conference, but in the country, than Justin Flowe. So if you can get back healthy, yeah, I think that brings a different level of energy and excitement to the Oregon defense for sure.
Another guy that you really don't want to rush, perhaps even more so than Dante Manning, because we've seen the breakout potential with Justin Flowe. And Oregon fans want to see him next to Noah Sewell so bad, and I'm right there with them. In the time since Flowe has been limited in spring practice, we've seen Jeffrey Bassa get a lot of work. That's another dude who I'm super intrigued about because there was a little bit of question as far as what his role would be moving forward after coming in as a safety, and then the Ducks were depleted at linebacker. So he really kind of just slid into that role and made it his own. And it sounds like, just based on how Dan Lanning likes to run his defenses, that he's just the kind of guy that he's looking for at linebacker, with that combination of speed and physicality. So we'll see if Flowe can be in the spring game. Personally, kind of a similar case with Manning. I don't think we're going to see him necessarily. But with the depth that the Ducks have, particularly at the linebacker spot, not something that you'd be super worried about. Guys like Jackson LeDuc also getting some significant reps. He came back last season. He revealed to us in spring that he was battling COVID, and he also was recovering from an injury, so he kind of had everything coming at him at once. Keith Brown, another guy that got some really significant reps last year. So with Justin Flowe, you hope to see him back as soon as you can, but that's a guy you definitely want to be patient with. And unlike in the secondary, at least in my opinion, as it stands right now, I think you have the depth to be more cautious in your approach. Not to say that they're not going to be with Manning, but obviously the linebackers are much more stacked than the secondary right now.
Absolutely. And then you have the potential of Harrison Taggart and Devin Jackson behind him as well, even after Keith Brown and Jackson LeDuc. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Keith Brown and Jackson LeDuc take another step, because they were even limited last year as well. Really, that entire linebacker group outside of Sewell and Bassa were really banged up last year. So those are a couple guys I'm really excited to see too. The spring game is just going to be really exciting to see, what could have been last year, even just with all the guys that were injured, especially on defense, flying around out there and just, being a part of this Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoi mishmash of defensive firepower. Like there's so much to, glean from what we've heard so far about the defense and what it could look like. And there's so many guys that, the previous staff recruited that are going to fit right in, and maybe even better than the previous staff.
We'll keep you guys posted on all the latest updates around Justin Flowe and other injury news over on Ducks Digest.